Hello everybody, welcome back to another Binding of Isaac in-depth video. I know it's been a couple weeks, a couple months since the last in-depth, but hopefully it's worth the wait. Today we're looking at arguably one of the most important stats in Isaac, damage. We'll go over everything that has to do with damage, including the equations or code ran to calculate what your damage stat is in game, as well as figuring out what the highest damage is that you can get in the game. Let me know in the comments down below what in-depth videos you guys would like to see next, as we'll be trying to put these out a bit more often than before. Let's get started. Damage in Isaac refers to the amount of damage each tier or tick of a beam-based shot does. Contrary to popular belief, tier size does not always equal damage. There's many items like Pisces that can increase your tier size without necessarily increasing your damage. There is an equation to figure out your effective damage, otherwise known as the amount of damage each tier or tick of a beam-based shot does. Yeah, that's right, you've been saying damage this entire time, but really it's effective damage. Effective damage does have a fairly basic equation that we're going to walk through and show each step of. I'm just going to throw it on the screen right there, and kaboom kapow, what an equation it is. Effective damage equals character base damage times the square root of the total damage ups times 1.2 plus 1 plus the flat damage ups. So you don't know what that means yet, but let's walk through what each one of those is, and then we'll do a basic example to demonstrate how this all works together. Character base damage refers to the base damage 3.5 multiplied by each character's specific damage multiplier or modifier. For instance, Eve has a multiplier of 0.75, which when multiplied by 3.5 is 2.625 damage per tier. This is relatively easy to see when we load up the game and look at Eve's damage. It's 2.625, but since Isaac works in two decimal places, it's going to round up to 2.63. Obviously, characters like Isaac, Maggie, Samson, others start with an effective damage stat of 3.5, which means that their multiplier is indeed 1. Other characters have different multipliers, and you can find those on the wiki. I'm not going to go over all of them here. The one major exception to this is actually back to Eve. When Eve enters into the Whore of Babylon state, her damage modifier changes from 0.75 to 1.0. This means that Eve actually gets more powerful with the Whore of Babylon than other characters might with the Whore of Babylon. It's a kind of unique thing to Eve that not many people know about. This entire character-based damage multiplier also explains why Eve can pick up Jesus Juice and get a 0.7 damage up, but Isaac picks up Jesus Juice and gets a 0.93 damage up. This is why that character-based damage multiplier makes such a large difference in the equation. Total damage ups. This refers to the total of all damage ups received on the run. For instance, Jesus Juice is a 0.5 damage up, and Cat of Nine Tails is a 1.0 damage up. This means that if Isaac had these two items, the total of all damage ups would be 1.5. This is a pretty straightforward one. Flat damage ups. Flat damage ups are all damage upgrades that are not thrown into the calculation in total damage ups. For example, you may have noticed that Curved Horn always gives you a 2 damage up. This is because it is a flat damage up. This is not used in the calculation under the square root, or else its return value would be diminished depending on the other damage ups on the run. The damage equation is built to make most damage upgrades less potent the more damage ups that Isaac has. I won't get too far into the math here, but square roots are great at creating largely diminishing returns on an equation. Just in case you don't believe me, let's actually showcase this by plugging into the equation. So for this example, we are going to be Isaac. That means we have a 3.5 character-based damage modifier. We're going to give ourselves 1 Jesus Juice. As we saw before, Jesus Juice is a 0.5 damage upgrade, so we'll use the equation here, 3.5 times the square root of 0.5, which is our total damage ups, times 1.2 plus 1, and then we don't have any flat damage ups, so that's going to equal 4.427. In game, when we take the item here, we can see that, oh look, 4.43, which is definitely rounding up from 4.427. This was a plus 0.93 damage upgrade. Now, what would happen if we took another Jesus Juice here? The equation is 3.5 times the square root of 1, which is 0.5 times 2 since we have 2 Jesus Juice, times 1.2 plus 1, which is going to be 5.191. This was only a 0.76 damage upgrade. The square root takes away some of our damage because we already have a damage upgrade. This is what stops runs from spiraling out of control usually, unless you got these. Damage multipliers, similar to the flat damage ups, are multiplied to Isaac's damage after everything else is calculated. These are what make your run insanely good, and you'll be pleased to see that your damage multipliers are some of your most powerful items in the game. Proptosis and Eve's Mascara are both 2 times multipliers, while Cricket's Head and Magic Mush are both 1.5 times multipliers. This is what makes Cricket's Head and Magic Mush so powerful in this game. They aren't damage ups. They're damage multipliers. They're constantly behind the scenes reworking with every item you pick up to multiply your damage and make you insanely powerful. There is also a 1.5 times multiplier you get from having Blood of the Martyr and Book of Belial, which is not something that really anybody knows about. While Proptosis and Eve's Mascara's multipliers do stack for a total of 4 times damage multiplication, Magic Mush and Cricket's Head do not. This is why picking up Cricket's Head once you have Magic Mush does not do the same insane amount of damage that it usually does. That doesn't mean it doesn't feel good to have both of them though. So show me something cool, Tyler. Show me what you can do with damage if you have all of these multipliers. Alright, let's talk about the highest amount of damage you can get in the game. I took it upon myself to add every single item that gives a damage increase to Isaac, who, as we know, has a base character damage of 3.5, and this gave ourselves an astonishing 2,897 damage. It should be noted that this is without bonuses from items like Bloody Lust, which would give more damage upon completing a room, or Succubus, which would increase damage while in the aura, or items like Purity, which can give you a damage upgrade. This is still a lot of damage, like a stupid amount of damage. It's tap and everything dies. I do also want to note this damage would be even higher if we were playing like a character like Judas, who does have a higher initial base damage modifier and statistic. But I see you sitting there. You aren't pleased. You know that you can get more damage in Isaac. Fine, buddy. There is a way to get infinite, or at least damn near infinite with patience, damage. It's a little buddy called the Razor Blade. Yes, we end how we began, with Eve. Razor Blade has no cap on how many times you can use it to get damage. This does actually give damage to you in an exponential pattern, which means without calculus and integrals, there's no way to determine when it will reach 0, which means it is indeed countably infinite. But I took the time to sit here and get Carpal Tunnel and receive 25,000 damage in Isaac. It's possible, it's doable, you just need a lot of HP. Hopefully this helped you understand damage a bit more in Isaac and how to get an insanely high damage stat in Afterbirth Plus. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, remember to hit the like button as it helps me out a lot and lets me know that you enjoyed the video. Give me some more ideas for Isaac in-depth videos in the comment section down below. We'll probably try to alternate these with the top 10s each week. Have a good day. Bye bye.